Andy Thornhill, your host for Barbados Racing. We will be focusing on all the local stakeholders in this wonderful industry. To begin with, in the first edition, we'll be talking to Anderson Tom Trotman, the man with the most wins as a local jockey. How about that? We'll be talking to Linden Yard. And then we'll be keeping up with the Joneses. Wonder what we're talking about? Stay tuned for coming attractions. This is Barbados Racing.
I am Linden Yard. I'm joined by jockey Anderson Trotman, Barbados' most successful jockey, who plays this trade at the Garrison Savannah, an establishment that has been carrying racing in Barbados for over 110 years. Why don't you just tell viewers about yourself?
Well, simple going Anderson Trotman. I came from Brazil. And Brazil guys who encouraged me about riding. And that's how I became a jockey. Well, let me tell you the truth. When I was younger, I would hate horses. I loved to see them. I was really scared. But after a while, I get older and think and say, this is something I could do and make a career out of it. So I kept my passion right through from there.
3,675 mounts. You won approximately 548 to be the most successful jockey at the Garrison. What is that feeling like to lead the likes of Jono Jones, Venice Richards, Patrick Husbands and company?
Well, that was a great feeling because from the time I reached our markets with Keshelan, Lace told me, don't get any credit to you, pass, it's more.
8 championships, which is again a record, the most championships won by jockey. You won your first championship in 1995, repeated in 1996, 2004, 2005, 2007, 2011, 2013, and your last championship was in 2014. So, how does it feel to be an 8-time champion jockey of Barbados?
Well, I feel very well, but as I'm going to say now, in 1995, I won the prize and jockey both times that same year.
And every jockey wants to win a derby. What was the feeling like when you won with Talahon in 1995?
Well, that feeling was really great because that's one the races you want to win just before you work out.
And then came Apostle, and this must be extra special in my opinion because this horse is a household name in Barbados.
Yeah, exactly.
When you moved to hopefully for your second stint as a contracted rider, what was the relationship like between the whole outfit, so David himself including and Liz Dean?
Everybody was nice and everybody was together. Everything was nice and cool.
Won your first Gold Cup in 2005. What is every jockey's dream to win a derby? A Gold Cup brings basically just about everybody to the races.
Yes.
So what was the feeling like when you rode Freedom Plains in 2005 to victory, your first Gold Cup win?
Oh, that was really exciting. That race, I really want to win one of the races.
And there's one race that you have not ticked that box. What race is that?
Tanglewood.
Okay. Surely it must be on your list to take it off before you retire. Okay. 35 years you have not had a problem where your weight is concerned. You've balanced your weight to be hovering around 110 and 115, which is a tremendous achievement anywhere in the world. What's the secret?
Well, the secret, I'm not really a big eater. I drink a lot of fuels and things, and I will take normal jobs and what's not.
It is a sport where tempers flare regularly.
Oh, yeah.
How important is it to stay focused and disciplined?
That is the main thing. Don't let anybody get whiskey.
Eclipse the late Venice Pappy Richards, who passed away earlier this year. That record stood at 510. You eclipsed the record with Lollipop 511. You know presently stand at 548. So you're approaching another landmark. What was the feeling like to surpass the great man for whom, when you were an apprentice,
yes,
he more than likely would have been one of your idols in the junction?
Oh yeah, it was practically riding with him for sure. And winning that race, the pass, Venice Richards and Slade Jones, that was a great achievement.
And what impact did he have on your riding career?
Well, Venice's man is always on his own, don't get in conflict with no one. I think I picked that day from seeing how he moves and what's not. So I basically learned that from him too.
You've had your battles with injuries. Were there any time you ever thought of quitting?
No. When you go through that spell, I'd say don't quit. That's how it goes sometimes. So just go with flow and it will eventually turn around.
You were led Barbados to the Jockeys Winter Challenge Championship against the likes of there was Frankie Dettori, there's Kieran Fallon, Seth Sanders, Tom Queally. Some of the best riders from Europe have come over to the Garrison. What was it like, first of all, to lead the Barbados team as captain and then to defeat those guys?
Well, leading them was a great experience. Riding with them was a really good experience too. I beat them. It's exciting. Very excited to be with them guys. Oh, them is really different than our American style. The English style, but they're really rough.
Your 3,675 rides. There must be some standout horses.
Oh yeah. And most is possible, for sure. And then come Aristodemus. He was alright. Nice horse. I Can Moon. He was decent. I really did few horses in my time.
Is retirement anywhere in your mind at this stage?
No, not this time. And we can't tell when it's going to be. I think when it comes to retirement, I think your body can't take it no more. And you, as you say, you get scared. And things not going the way you wanted to go. Okay, let's pack up the books.
This has been an interview with Barbados' leading jockey in terms of championships won at the Garrison Savannah, 8 titles, Anderson Tom Trotman, 3 derbies, 2 Midsummer Pale Classic, 2 Barbados Guineas, 2 Gold Cups, 1 Sandy Lane Spa Sprint, and just the Tanglewood missing, something he is inclined to take off very soon.
Thank you very much, Lyndon. Now, on to keeping up with the Joneses. Slade Jones, as we know, was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, local jockey. You might say until the Patrick Husbands came along, but that's his legacy. Even of Venice Richards. So, we're going to be talking to Charlie to find out the secrets to his success, when he began, etc. And then, son, Jono, a 4-time winner of the Gold Cup. And if that was not enough, his grandson, Slade. Yes, indeed, we can and we will keep up with the Joneses. It's a tremendous pleasure, obviously, to be speaking to Jono Jones, commonly known as Charlie, one of the outstanding Barbadian jockeys, if perhaps not the most outstanding, depending on who you talk to and how you rate that, come to that kind of rating. But certainly one of my top jockeys when it was a little lad. What are your thoughts on Anderson Tom Trotman?
He's a good lad, a good jockey. Getting on now, but in his day he was a good, very good jockey.
What makes a good jockey, in your opinion? Quote unquote a good jockey.
You just got to take the right opportunities. When he gets an opening, you go through without hesitation.
Your nickname back in the day was the Bull. How did you get that nickname? What did they call you, the Bull?
I was a fighter, and I used to butt down people.
Oh.
Headbutt people.
So I had not do horse racing?
No, a lot of jockeys get butt down. My first ride was in 1956 on a horse named Gold Lining. It was the final handicap belonging to Sir John Chandler from Todd's.
Yeah.
I was board at Lodge School, and they stopped me riding for a year.
Why was that? Thought you were too young?
No, they knew some called my mother to the meeting there with Douglas Lynch, who was my uncle, and my mother, and he said, oh, foolishness, jockey, foolishness, get it out of the boy head. The school is engineers and doctors and lawyers and scientists, well, jockey foolishness.
Yeah.
And my mother was a practical woman and a school teacher also. So my mother said she had spent lots of money on boarding school and so forth. So, and that was the only year I really studied. And I well, she said after all the trouble and she had deprived herself to send us to school, try and get something in your head. I started lodge in 1950 with David Simmons, who was my neighbor over there, Fred Gollop, Richard Card, a lot of successful guys. In those days, you only could be a groom, a jockey, or a trainer. I had no apprenticeship, none of it like that. Then I started to ride. I had no skull cap. You ride on some horses who break down and fall and so.
I mean, a lot of young people.
I was the master of them. But a lot of times you rush them and they start, and it was like a catapult and it pelt you backwards. And you know, it was a skill. Like when they tell you go back, is go forward. You know, you never turn wrong. You always block so they can start when you weren't. You know, you go in front. It was an art, and I was master at that. Then I brought the other gates. I wasn't happy at all.
Remember Valata, Out of Town, Silver Dolphin, and perhaps one of your favorites, Ferry Boat. You got a story about Ferry Boat. Tell us about that.
Well, when we took a set of horses down Chandler's to Trinidad Christmas meeting, I think it was in 61 or 60, I'm not sure. I won the Derby with a ferry boat came second with Chandler's horses. Ferry boat belonged to Bill Chandler, and the one I won the Derby will belong to Sir John. Anyhow, ferry boat went down in E class, and he won his last race in B class, the meeting, and they called me up, and I was quite nervous when his stewards called me up. The handicapper was a fellow named Mr. Murray. Asked me, Mr. Jones, I want to ask you one question. It has us baffled. The more weight we put on ferry boat, the harder he runs. Well, could you explain that to me? I started to laugh. He won 3 times with 145. No people here quarreling when they get 126. He won twice with 145. The starter, the handicapper called me up and asked me what kind of beast that is. The more weight we put on him, the harder he run.
Was he the best horse you rode?
No, he was a good Creole, but he wasn't sound. The best sprint I rode was a horse named Delicia. And had some other good horses, but in Trinidad, Cloud Prince, had some that belonging to Jono Jones were very good horses.
You had a good friendship with Venice Richards, but lots of competition in there. What was that competition like between you and Venice?
Very intense, but we were always very, very good friends. Every time I left a job and moved up, I recommended Venice. Like I wrote for the Goddards. When I left them to go with Chandler's, he fell in there for me. When I went to Trinidad, leaving Jurat, I recommended that slot.
Called Jurat,
He was a Bajan like myself, and when I started, he got his trainer's license in about just around the same time I started. And he came to me and said, Charlie boy, we are Bajans together, we got to stick together. I want you to come and ride for me. And I was working for a man named O.P. Bennett at the time. And I said, why? I can jump the ship, I go in with Court.
Okay.
And we went to Port of Spain with 5 horses, and he was champion trainer and I was champion jockey. Training was not my cup of tea. I really enjoyed like breeding horses. You know, to handle the owners, and so I found very difficult. You know, you do all your best and you lose one race and you take away the horses, and you know, a lot of people, although I trained for some very good owners, like one of the best people I ever trained, best men I ever trained for was Derek Smith. I a gentleman. And then some Richard Atkinson, although I trained for a lot of other people, and Sir John Chan have race horses up here, Rich. I trained behind the scenes. My good partner, Philip Matson, handles all the technical things with me. I too old for the hustle and bustle, but I still have a few horses. You want to see them?
What are your hopes for the improvement of horse racing in Barbados as we close this interview?
Well, now the track looks, I think the track going to be a better track when it's finished this time. The Garrison is unique for its historical and people get near to the horses and so.
Thank you, Charlie.
Okay.
All the best. His son, Jono, but was he the inspiration behind Jono Jones getting involved in racing?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I grew up on the horse farm, always had a horse around me, so I guess it just came to me.
What did you think of your dad's career?
Obviously, it wasn't riding. I mean, not when riding, I was small at your grandson when he retired, so I never really saw him to ride much. But you go by what you hear and what you see. It was fantastic.
Were there other sports that you had an interest in while you were at
school? I played a little bit of cricket and a little bit of football and thing, but not really. No, it was mainly horses most of the time. I started that exercise at the track when I was like 11 or 12, so I was exercising every weekend, and then when I was 14 I started race riding, so from there it was gone.
At that age, 11, 12, would people have said it's too young to
Times changed, I guess. In those days it was acceptable. You know, nobody didn't say anything about it. No, I guess it didn't. I think you had to be 14 to get his exercise license. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Remember your first ride, first mount?
Yeah, I rode a horse called Gin and Ginger. And I'm not sure it finished, but that was the first ride.
Butterflies in the stomach?
Yeah, man, for sure. For sure. It took a little while too to win my first race. I actually won my first race for Lisdene. How rugby last.
How much long after getting your jockey's license?
4 or 5 months, I was there.
And how long did it take you to win your second race?
Well, I can't remember. I don't think it was long. It was probably next weekend after the end of that year. I went to Newmarket actually and spent the year up there, or the summer up there.
How did that deal come about? Remember? Going to Newmarket, that's one day.
I'm not really sure how it came about, but I was only being 15. I just went up there.
Did you get to ride?
I rode a few times. I didn't win any races in Newmarket, in England, but I rode a few races. To be honest, I was young. I used to want to come back every day.
You missed your family?
Yeah, I miss everything at home. Started riding in Trinidad and Martinique a lot more on those places. So I was busy nearly every weekend.
Who was the top jockey of the day in Barbados when you started your career?
In Venice.
And to think your dad rode here at Venice?
Yeah, Venice only retired, I guess, in the late 90s or early 2000s actually.
And what was it like riding against quote unquote a legend?
No, he was good. Venice was very good to me. He used to help me a lot. I mean, always, I guess, riding my dad and thing, he paid special attention to me really.
Of course, it was still that competitive atmosphere between yourself and Venice and the other, but still was like a one love kind of situation.
Correct.
4 Gold Cups though on the trot. I don't think that was an easy task.
3 of the 4 was with Blaster Storm, who was a very good horse. I mean, Bill used to do a very good job with him every year, have him spot on for that race. And then the following year after that was another horse for Bill, off of Derek Smith that they brought in, Teddy Quill. So it was one good horse that won 3 races, and then another good horse that won the 4th.
Blast of Storm, in your opinion?
Good, very good. He won the better horse I've ridden here for sure.
And the best horse overall that you've ridden? Who would get your pick?
A horse called Bitter Gold in Toronto, and then Not Bourbon, who I won the Queen's Plate with. They'd be 2 of the better horses.
You had a bit of Woodbine as well?
Yeah, but I rode there for 11 years. Yeah, I won a good few of the big races up there too, including the Queen's Plate.
Which is the #1 race?
The most prestigious race up there.
In Canada.
Yeah.
How would Jono Jones rate what he did as a jockey?
We did I guess, as good as we could. We enjoyed it. I mean, I still go on. I still obviously love racing and so on.
I guess the people that in charge trying their best with what they have, and I mean, they just redid the track. It's coming now. It looks like it's gonna be lovely when it's finished. We just hope for the best.
Anderson, Tom Trotman. What were your thoughts on him?
Well, we actually started at the same time. We were good friends. I've always been good friends, and he's also a very good jockey. He's a top man.
Like father, like son, or like grandson. We have Slade Jones, who's already in the saddle at 14. And Slade, you've been telling me that you just received your exercise license?
Yes, that's right. And I have to wait until next year to get my racing license. Which I think that would be a challenge.
Why would it be a challenge before?
Well, I'm a lot taller than I wanted to be. But I'm still light, so I got hope for the best and stay on the right track.
So even at this stage, you have to watch what you're eating and so on. And as a young person, is that easy?
That's not easy, but I just try to keep away from bread, pasta, anything like with doughy flour things in them. Gotta try to keep away from anything like that. Just eat a lot of fruit and vegetables. Okay, and you're doing fine so far, right? Yeah, so far I've kept on my weight. Broken those laws a lot of times, but
I guess it would have been easy for you to want to get into horse racing for obvious reasons. Your granddad, your dad,
yes,
the entire surroundings.
I have always wanted to be a jockey, except when I was 11 or 12, that's when I first started to grow up taller, and I kind of gave up with then, and I was coming here looking after my farm animals here, and the exercise rider used to come here, and he just got this itching sensation I got to start back riding. Then I started back up on the farm here, started riding Graham Chai's racehorses.
Right.
And then when I got of age, I went back down to the track, got my license, and starting off from there. Track is a difficult place because there's so much competition, but it's been good so far. Getting a couple rides in the morning.
Your granddad was perhaps, like I said, depending on who you talk to and what kind of measuring tool you use, maybe the greatest we produce so far. Your dad won 4 gold cups. What are your goals?
Well, I plan to win 6 gold cups, and I'll try to do as good as I can. Try to keep up with the 2 elders, but I'll try my best. Try to see if I go to Canada, see if I could win as big races as my father. And I'll try to surpass the 2 of them. Say that Graham Charlie was good, my dad was better, and I plan to be better. So.
You plan to be the best?
Yes.
I suspect at 14 you were still at school. How do you balance the books?
Both of my parents believe that school always goes first, so you have to put school first and then study writing after.
And how have you been balancing that as well?
Yeah, I've been balancing that pretty good. Well, of course, naturally I would prefer to do writing, but gotta think it part of my head and do school.
Thank you, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Slade, I'm sure, will continue the legacy of his granddad and his dad. Tell you what, that's the end of our first show. But before we go, let us show you some of the classic rides of Anderson Tom Trotman. See you in 2 weeks' time. Bye-bye for now.
Feet on Flames, who goes nicely. Deputy PM is there. Strong Opinion is right there. Cathair is right there, who's wavering, goes really well. Peace Angel looks as if she's struggling a bit. Then comes Storm Hunter, and the last one is Noble Import. Over the top of the hill they go. Downhill to the finish. And the leader is still Feet on Flames. Strong Opinion is there. Then 4 back to Cathair on the outside. Thady Quill. But it is going to be between the first 2, and it is Feet on Flames who clears out. 2 lengths clear of Strong Opinion. Then comes Cathair with a run, but he's not going to get there. It is now, and it is all to do for Mr. Luther J. Miller's Feet on Flames. Feet on Flames, Strong Opinion. On the outside comes Cathair, down in the middle, but it is Feet on Flames who's going to win the 24th renewal of the Gold Cup. Coming home about 5 lengths clear. Cathair runs strongly on to be second.
Apostle is opening up by 4. He's by 5. This is going to be a romp here. Apostle and Tom Trotman are going to ensure victory for Andrew Nunes in the Barbados Derby. Second was Chuck the Woodchuck. Then came Walk On By. Auburn Prince, Cater Corner, Hawaiian Tropic. Coming towards the 2 furlong marker. Sail on a set for home. Down the inside. Must be the money. On the outside, here's Kingdom Moon to have her chance. On the outside, Istanbul is going to have to come 3 wide if he can get there. He's not going on. As they come to the top of the stretch of the Derby, it is Sail on the right-handed drive. On the outside, Candle Moon. It is Sail on front, Candle Moon. Candle Moon now charts the express her dominance and comes to the front under a right-handed drive. Sail on will not go away. They're running on the rail estate. It's going to be close at the wire. Inseparable. Very close. Very close indeed, but Anderson Trotman thinks he's done it with Candle Moon. Sail on. Brilliant run from this one. Aristodemus sits nicely in fourth. On the outside, Just Call Me Roger comes to hunt, and here's Dagger making her move. Discreet one beat under the pump. Candle Moon hard ridden. Dancing David being wound up. Here's Meteorite also asks for a rail run as it comes inside the quarter pole. The 6 furlongs in 1:15 and 2. Inside the quarter they come. And then the leader is now Show Me the Money, who sticks his head in front. Aristodemus on the outside comes down, he points. And there are no more turns in the Gold Cup. And Aristodemus has come to the front. It's Aristodemus in the middle of the course. On the outside, Dagger trying to close. It's Aristodemus on the outside, Dagger. Aristodemus from Dagger. Aristodemus and Dagger, they're running on the rail estate. Aristodemus wins it. Dagger is second. On the outside, there is Meteorite to be third. Dancing David finished well on the inside to be fourth. And the last one home was Just Call Me.